All right, welcome to the very first Ask Doug. This is my new office and my new couch in my new office in our new home, and I'm excited to be answering some of your questions. So I asked Next Level Runner members to submit any question they wanted to ask me, anything kind of style, and I chose a few of them that I'm going to answer in today's video here. I tried to choose some that were both unique and interesting, but also others that would be more general that could apply to everyone. So let's just get to it. The first question comes from Sandra, and she says, this was really interesting, I've never heard of this before. I'm wondering if a runner has a left or right dominant leg. I seem to tire much more quickly on my right leg than left, even though they seem equal when I do exercises. I have noticed that if I start the run on a certain leg, that is the one that seems to be the leader in that run. If I stop and start with the other, then that one seems to be the one in charge. I may be weird. Thanks. You're not weird, Sandra. Everybody has a dominant leg. I mean, you kick with a dominant leg. Just like you have with a dominant arm and hand, everybody seems to have a dominant leg. I've never heard of it affecting runners that much, but it would make sense a little bit that your dominant leg would be stronger. You know, I think that you have more confidence, more stability, and probably a little bit more strength with that dominant leg. So, you know, I can see that that would be something, but I've never heard of a runner tiring more quickly on a certain leg than another unless there's some sort of injury or tightness up above that's involved. If you favor that leg for any reason while you're going over logs or going over roots or something like that, then it could definitely tire more easily then. But I've never really heard of this as being a big common thing. So I would just say make sure you're strengthening both legs equally and you're trying to not favor one. You're mixing it up so they're both tiring equally. But it's a great question and very interesting, something to consider. So thanks, Sandra. Let's see, question number 2. Question number 2 comes from Mallory. How much rolling should you really do? And this is a good question because runners and coaches and everybody like to talk about running or rolling all the time. We like to say that it solves a bunch of problems and helps to work out all kinds of soreness and work out all kinds of tight muscles. And I really believe that. Foam rolling and targeted rolling with a massage ball can really help with injury prevention and mobility. It's a really good thing for runners to do. So should you do it every day? Well, I don't think it would hurt. I might not target the exact same spots every single day unless it's a really particular problem area. Give yourself a little bit of break, a day or two in between. I don't know how many times you're actually doing it per week right now, Mallory, but I would aim for a couple times during the week and then again on Sunday after an easy shakeout after your long run on Saturday. All right, so the next question comes from Iwo. What's a good stretch for tight hips? Ah, yes, excellent question. The old tight hips that every runner seems to have. I think that it's a really common problem and can cause some major issues if you're not careful about it. So a good stretch that I like to do, and this would be something that I'd probably do after a run, after a little bit of a break, so not right before a run, is to lay down on my back, take a towel or a strap if you have a yoga strap or something like that, put it on the bottom of your foot, stretch out your leg straight, and then kind of roll it over to the left, roll it over to the right, open it up, you know, hold there for a little bit, cross it back over your body, pull it towards you a little bit, you know, just kind of work all the directions with that strap, the strap guiding your leg and guiding your foot. Another one is to lay down on your back and do a figure 4, so cross over your leg over top of your thigh, your other thigh, and kind of pull it back. And that will open up some of your glutes and muscles in the back of your hip. For your hip flexors, a lunge is a really good stretch. So those are kind of the 3 stretches that I would recommend: the strap, the figure 4, and the lunges. All right, let's see what we got. Third question here. Our 4th question is, besides basic gear recommendations, any tips for running on trails through the night? Specifically, more nuanced gear tips and or ways to stay safe. Well, really the only piece of gear you need to run at night is a headlamp. I mean, that is some sort of light that will guide you. It can be a flashlight, a headlamp, shoe lights. People have all kinds of different lighting devices. It really depends on your preference. So if you like the headlamp, personally that's what I like, then that's a great option because you're not holding anything. Some people prefer holding it in their hand or a light. They can even take a headlamp and use it as a waist light. You can have two, so the waist light kind of points down, your headlamp goes wherever you're looking. You know, the big tips are just slow it down, keep it move easy. You know, once you get comfortable on running at night, you don't really have to slow down, but you do have to worry about shadows, especially at dusk. You know, it can be really hard to see when you're running at dusk, even with the headlamp, because it's not really doing very much and the shadows are really funky. So just take your time, get used to it, slow down a little bit, pick your feet up a little bit more, and just run with a little bit more intention, paying attention to where you're going than you might be during the day. But other than that, there's not too much difference. As far as safety goes, just make sure that somebody always knows where you are, but that's a general trail running tip that I like to recommend. Carry your phone on you if you think you're going to have service. Even if you don't think you're going to have service, it's good to have it on you just in case. And then be more mindful of wildlife. You know, of course, there's some animals that come out at night that aren't during the day, and it's a little harder to see them. Scan the perimeter, you know, listen, don't put your headphones in. Be aware of your surroundings. And if you can, run with a buddy. You know, I always recommend running with a buddy as often as you can, both for fun and for training, support, but also for safety. Okay, and for the final question that I have for today comes from Bruno, and he says, or he asks, the week before the longest race you ever did, how do you mentally prepare? Especially as a non-professional runner, you deal with life, business, travel overseas, etc. Sounds like he has nutrition, tapering, hydration, sleep, and all that under control. So this is really just about the mental question. It's hard. I mean, the longest race you ever did is going to be a scary one. It's going to be one that you are feeling a little uncomfortable and a little apprehensive about. So how do you relax? How do you take it easy? Well, you know, the first thing to do is get as prepared as possible. I preach getting prepared in every way possible, as much as possible. So that is everything from having all of your gear ready already, things packed, things laid out, things sorted, having lists of what nutrition you're going to bring, what you need before the race, what you need after the race, having talked through your crew, if you have a crew, or your support team, to make sure that they know where they're going. The more of that kind of stuff you can take care of, then the less you have to worry about in your mind, because you know that all of that is under control. And then it just kind of comes down to worrying about the race itself, you know, the weather, how you're going to feel, all those things, those anxious nerves that we all feel ahead of race day. And when it comes to that, there is unfortunately no special hack or special trick. But one thing I really like to do is to run through the race mentally in my head ahead of time. So I will pull out a course map, I'll print it off, or if I have an actual map that has the course on it, I will run through the elevation profile. I will think about where all the aid stations are, think about where I'm going to see my crew, think about how I'm going to be feeling at this point in the race, when it might get dark if you're running through the night, when it might get light if you're starting before the sun comes up and the sun comes out. Think through the whole race and run through it in my head. Think, okay, if I'm feeling low at this point, here's what I can do. My crew's going to be coming up soon. I can, you know, I'll have been running for several hours, so it'll be a good time for me to tackle this sort of nutrition or do a shoe change or some sort of gear change. Think through options for how I can deal with different situations so that I can, you know, just kind of wrap my head around what that would look like on race day. And that seems to calm my nerves quite a bit. I also like to get out on the course as much as I can, you know, those final weeks before the race. If the course is nearby, then I'll go out there and I'll do some, you know, I'll run the last 5 miles of the course so that I can get a feel for what it's like and picture myself coming in on race day, having just completed the race and feeling good. I wish I had a magic bullet, but the bottom line is that you just need to get as prepared as possible so you don't have to worry about the little things. And then think through race day as much as you can. Put yourself there mentally, both in the good times and the bad times, and use that as an opportunity to tackle any challenge that gets thrown your way. Stay confident, know that you put in the work throughout your training, and you'll do great. I'm sure of it. So those are all the questions for this Ask Doug session. I hope I see you again on the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks to those who asked questions. And I'll see you on the trails.